guys, Pink Girly here. Hey, listen, this little video is just to encourage those of you who may be a little timid or shy or a little nervous to get started to draw. I am just a regular gal who raised 2 kids. I was always interested in coloring and really drawing a little bit when I was younger, but not as much as I desire to draw now. And I really don't think I have any special talent, but I'm trying to teach myself. But over the last couple of years, I've come to understand and realize that there are many of us who get a little intimidated by a blank page. And so with this little video, I just want to encourage you to just put that aside and just start. Just draw. Just start to do something. I picked up this sketchbook at Five Below, but you can get them at Michael's. You can get them online. Some of them are very inexpensive. You could use just sheets of computer paper, okay, and staple them together, or just keep them in a file folder. Just keep them in a stack. You could use a composition book. You could use whatever is on hand that you have. The idea is to just get started. And I think I mentioned in one of my other videos that there are 2 ladies who have encouraged me greatly lately. One is the Meri Atelier, and that's the word the, and then Meri, M-E-R-I. Atelier is the French word for workshop, and that's A-T-E-L-I-E-R. She has a channel on YouTube. And then more specifically for what I'm going to show you today, of course the phone always rings, the dogs go crazy. Deliberately Creative. Her name is Stephanie, and she doodles, but her doodles really are works of art. That being said, she really shows you how you can get started, and really with some simple lines, do some really cute things. And we can all start at our own level. And a lot of it is training your eye to see what you see, and mostly to have fun and just let go. Now, I tend to, when I sit down to draw something, I use a pencil, I've got erasers, and I'm trying to get it just so. So I'm trying to work on that and free myself up and not be so uptight. So between the 2 ladies, Meri from the Meri Atelier and Deliberately Creative, Stephanie, I started this sketchbook. And I made a list of things that I want to doodle or draw. And you don't have to do this. I just find this helpful, that if I'm going to sit down in front of the TV in the evening, instead of having to think about, oh, what can I draw now? I've got a list of things that I can glance at and pick out something, okay, if I need to. And then Meri was doing some exercises on her channel where she just does some quick sketches, and she was sectioning off her paper with little boxes similar to this. Now, she was freehanding her boxes and drawing them. I just recently realized I have a stencil that works for me. But you know what? You can use an old credit card, business card. Pick up something around the house that's square or round or rectangle or a diamond shape. And then you just put some boxes or some shapes on your page. And I find that if you do that, it divides the page up so it's not a big blank area staring at you, and it just gives you small compartments that you can draw, doodle in, write in, whatever, and it just kind of makes it more doable, more controlled, more not as intimidating. So you're just working in this little space. You're not having to work on the whole page. Now, if the whole page thing doesn't bother you, go for it. But in this particular book, this particular sketchbook for me, I decided to make the compartments and then I'm doodling. I'm not using a pencil. I'm using a pen. And so I draw in my images, and I don't draw from my head. I have to have something to look at. Now, these dragonflies are inspired by Stephanie, and her channel again is Deliberately Creative, okay? And fish, and then I just Googled whimsical fish, whimsical flowers, and that would give me some ideas, some shapes to work with, and then I could fill in and do my own thing if I wanted to. And then I come back with, now I'm mostly using a watercolor crayon. They're called Neo 2. I have those sitting here. I'll show you. But you don't need to have these. You could use regular crayons. You could use watercolor. You could use acrylic, watered down acrylic. You could use marker. You could leave them blank. It's up to you. So you don't have a lot of supplies. What I'm encouraging you to do is to just start doing something. If you have a mind to want to draw and work in this area at all, just get started. So as you can see in my book, I've picked out different subjects, and I like to color in around the background and just put a little bit of color in. I haven't done anything with markers. Now, the paper in this book is not great paper. You can see some of it bleeds through on the back. I'm trying not to fuss too much about that. This is hard for me to be able to just draw something and not erase it. But I'm just doing it and then letting it go. Okay, and then I'm just coloring in whatever. I'm trying to see a couple of particular spots, like this one. Oh my gosh, look how horrible this is. I wanted to do a cloud that was blowing, wind. Look, it's awful. But he's going to stay on there. Okay, I'm not finished this page. I have a lot of pages in progress. I am happy with my sun page. I need to find some more images for moons that I like and I wanted to add there. But see, I'm just doing my own thing. This I just was working on a little bit last night. This is supposed to be flower pots. Again, they're not terrific, but it'll look a lot better once I get some color, some marker on here. And then I'll add some words, and I'll doodle or make some scratch marks around the frames of the little boxes that I drew. Worms, so all kinds of stuff. You just put in whatever you want. So last night I was running out of pages that I had the grids ready for. So I just started tracing around. This is a credit card, an old credit card, or like if you have an old let's see, Dunkin' Donuts card that's expired. Anything that I like the rectangle shape, but square is great. I've started to add some circles. And then I just didn't really feel like thinking last night, so I just went through and put some of my watercolor crayon around. And I've just got a few pages prepped. Now see, this one doesn't have much of anything done on it. And I'm just prepping myself. So what I'm going to show you is just briefly, so you get the idea to see exactly what I'm talking about. I've got this old Sephora gift card. That's the word I was trying to find. Gift card. And I just put them down any way that I want. And then I just trace around. Now, some of the pens or markers that you might use to trace around may not be waterproof or permanent. And then if you use any watercolor or markers and you want to add water on to blend it, this can run. But you know what? I'm not letting that bother me either. Truth is, really, unless you show somebody, who's going to see your sketchbook, right? So first of all, what's the big deal, right? Nobody is going to see it unless you let them see it. So you just have to get started. And you will find that the more that you do, the better that you will get. And as long as you enjoy the process, why not just do it? And there are a lot of simple shapes. You can start out with circles. Like, say you wanted to do a page of clocks. And you don't even have to do a page of. You can mix and match. It's your journal. Do what you want. Do what you enjoy. So this is all I'm doing. Whoops, see, goof there. So I'm busy talking and trying to draw. See, so something like that, that's a kind of a goof here. Let me see if I can bring my camera down a little bit. I'll just come back around here when it's time, and I'll put some more bumps around here and a little swirly there. You know, and then I might come back in and color these in. And by the time that's done, it's going to look cute. So I might add some circles here or little squares. I don't have anything sitting right here. I don't think that's, oh, I could use this here. This is an old slide projector. Little film box, little film square or whatever you call it. You can offset one, you can overlap them. My one friend, I'll give a shout out to Holly, she's doing this along with me. And she's using diamond shapes and heart shapes. She's got all kinds of stuff in her book, and it looks fabulous. Okay? So I thought today, for this video, I would pick out a page and just start showing you how I'm doodling. Let's just go with this one. And a while back I think I got this from thrift books. I saw this and I thought it was interesting. All different shoes. But like I said, I need a reference to look at something. So if you don't have the internet, you can certainly Google an item and images. And you'll get tons of examples that you can look at and then draw. But I just happened to have this shoe book, and I thought, I'm going to use this and do a page of shoes. So this one here is just a bunch of bubbles that makes a shoe. So I'm just going to use that to get that image in my head. I've got some pages torn out of here, so I've got some loose pages here. And I'm just going to pick a square that I think it will work in. So maybe this one down here. And I'm just going to come down. And I'm just making this line here, just following that line that would be the ankle, back of the ankle. And then I'm just going to come here, and it swoops this way a little bit. And that's where the ankle bone comes in. And they're just a bunch of circles. Now, if you were really nervous, you could get a little circle, like a quarter. You could get a quarter and just start making circles. And I'm just going to follow along where I think the shoe of bubbles would go. It doesn't have to be exact to this picture. It's just the idea, right? I mean, I can make my bubbles go any which way. And then you just add your own thing, your own personality. Now, see, if I was doing this a couple of months ago, I would be fussing with those circles, and I would be erasing them, and I would be making sure that they don't overlap. So that's just crazy town. Okay. Now I can make a couple little bubbles go free here off of the shoe. All right. And then say I want to decorate or do something around the frame of this little. So I like to do a lot of little squiggly things. You could do a vine, you could do more circles, you could do little squares, whatever comes to mind. And then I might come up with some kind of a little phrase or word that I might want to add in there after the fact, or maybe after my page is done and I decide what color I'm going to do in the background and how I do the other squares. In this square, I might just put a toe, or maybe a heel. I'm definitely going to do a high heel on this page. And I have a page of sneakers that I'm working on, but this is going to be different because you could do slippers, you could do flip-flops. I think I have flip-flops on my list. So it can be all different. And then what I like to do now, I do have the Neo 2 crayons here. And these are like a watercolor crayon. And I have my watercolor brush. And you may not have this, but you could just use a wet brush. But most people have markers. So I'm going to step out on a limb. And I'm going to do marker on those bubbles. I think my marker box is right here. If you have kids, you might have some markers around. And sometimes you can pick up some really cheap markers. Crayola has, they're called Super Tips. They're a great little marker. And you can get them in a variety of sizes, like I think 12, and then they have maybe a 20 count box up to 100. And you can get them at Walmart, and they're very inexpensive. So now I just have to decide what color bubble I want. Maybe I'll just do a light blue. Maybe I'll do a couple different color blues. Now these markers are Arteza. The company's probably been around for a while. I'm not sure, but they've really, in the craft world anyway, they've gotten really popular. They have a lot of products that are really quite nice. So I was able to get some of these. Now these are a brush tip marker, but you can just use a little. And I think if I do this, I think I probably can move this a little bit with some water. I'm not sure. Of course, I take everything out of the packaging, and then I forget what's water soluble or what can move with water. But sometimes you can put some of this color out and use it like on a paintbrush if you want a more watery mark. So all I'm going to do is just color in some of these bubbles. And then sometimes I like to come back around either with, you could use a crayon or color pencil and deepen the edge, or you can just leave it go. See, now this is hard. It's not intimidating. I'm working in a little tiny square. And certainly I would not even think about entering this in any kind of an art gallery. But to sit in front of the TV at night, or with these nicer days, if you've got a pool in the backyard, the kids are in the pool, you don't feel like it, you can take a sketch pad or your sketchbook to the family picnic. Of course, social distancing. Take the kids to the park. Whatever. You can throw all kinds of colors in here. Whatever you like. Adding a little bit of gray. This is not a Picasso, but you know what? I think it looks cute, right? So the purpose of this video, really, as I dig through my markers here, is just to encourage those of you who may be thinking about buying a sketchbook or starting to sketch and thinking, oh, I've never done that before. I don't know what to purchase. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. This is where to start. Now I'm going to pop a little other color in here. Let's see. Yellow happened to just jump in my hand, so let's do a little yellow. And then I've been wanting to put a little bit of color inside my frame as well. And like I said, I haven't been using marker. This is my first page with a marker. So I just picked up this purple. Just going to add some purple in the corner. And if you don't have a paintbrush, you could use a Q-tip. I'm just adding a little water to that to kind of move that darkness around. And then I'm going to put a little bit of purple along this edge. So that's really it. Don't be scared. Just draw it. All right, guys? Let me know what you think. If you haven't subscribed, I wish that you would. Trying to get myself up to 1,000 subbies. So if you would subscribe, that would help me out. Don't forget, take time to be creative, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.